My name is Martin Stute. I'm a professor here at Barnard in the Environmental Science Department, also a scientist at Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory. And I run the senior seminar for the 4 departments that are listed here: the Barnard Environmental Science Department, Earth Environmental Sciences at Columbia, the Ecology, Evolution, Environmental Biology Department, and Sustainable Development. We are all in one seminar together, and it's a lot of fun to learn about all these different topics. So I welcome you here to Barnard. Before we get started, I wanted to quickly thank all the people that have been involved. On the administrative side, we have Leslie Rauker and Catherine Cook and Pamela Vreeland from the Earth Institute that have been helping us. We very much support, acknowledge and appreciate the support from the Earth Institute. Steve, as a representative, listed here. The Provost Office is helping us out, especially with funding a lot of research projects, which is fantastic for the summer. Many research mentors are in the audience, and we are glad that you're here, and we are very appreciative of all your work with our students. That's wonderful. And then we have 8 faculty members, between 1 and 3 from each of the departments or programs represented, that help me in the senior seminar. They're all listed there with pictures, some of them a little bit older than what they look today, but that's totally fair. I do want to point out one person, though, Stephanie Furman, who I would like to ask to come to the stage. So Stephanie arrived here at Barnard in 1993. She founded the Environmental Science Department, has been with us for a long, long time. And unfortunately, she is going to leave us, as many of you know, by this summer, going to Arizona and continuing her work there. She has been very important in the senior seminar over the years. If I remember correctly, it actually was her, Jim Simpson, who was a Dees professor, and I, in 94, 95, when we came up with the idea of the senior seminar. And I think it was always Dees and Barnard together, and then the other departments kind of joined in a little bit later. I guess E3B didn't exist at the time, right? And it's amazing, you know, this course has been pretty stable since then, and we were one of the very first courses that were actually served on the internet, which I was always so proud of, but that I could post something on the internet and it was be there for everybody to see a few minutes later, right? It was just an amazing time. We used browsers like Mosaic, if you remember, Netscape. The older ones of us remember those. And then Courseworks and Canvas came about, but it was really, we never made that transition to Courseworks and Canvas because that website has enjoyed so much popularity globally that we could never take it down. You know, I think the website has been translated by now into about 10 languages worldwide. And I constantly get emails from people that say, "Oh, I found this on the web and I saw your name attached to it. It's wonderful. You know, it's a great resource," and so on. So we cannot never take it down. And Stephanie, of course, contributed a lot to it. There are still segments of the text, I think, that were written by you years ago that have been completely unchanged and are as valid as they are today as they were in 1993, which is sort of amazing. Her signature contribution to the seminar is How to Give a Scientific Talk, which she has toured with also elsewhere, and we all have sort of adopted. And I bet slides from that presentation, which is openly posted also online, are everywhere too, because, you know, whenever we give talks, we look for what's out there, right? And How to Give a Scientific Talk is such a fantastic presentation, and nobody can top Stephanie giving it. So thank you. So thank you for all the contribution over the years, and to acknowledge that, we know you're a big fan of all the posters we made. Hopefully that will fit on a wall in Arizona. So it's all the posters that were made over the years. The poster session came about at Biosphere 2. They are the first ones doing this, and I was on sabbatical there, and I really loved this idea, how they were doing this, also with the short presentations at the beginning. So in 2003, we started with a poster session. So these are all the invitations since 2003. So this is our 16th year of doing this. Okay, I let you go. Thank you so much. All right, sorry that the introduction took a little bit longer, but you know, Stephanie has to be acknowledged. So the way how this works now, for the next 20 minutes or so, we have students give a 30-second overview of their work, one by one. They will walk on stage here and then walk off the stage on the other side. I always say it's good practice for graduation in a few weeks, right? And we would like you to hold your applause between presentations, so turn off your cell phone, don't clap, and then we will have a major, major applause at the end when the last student actually has been on stage. So let's start.
My name is Ella Merrill, and my project aims to provide comprehensive mapping of glyphosate levels in the Indian River Lagoon, Florida, and to discriminate between its urban and agricultural sources. Glyphosate is the main ingredient in the non-selective herbicide Roundup and may be a carcinogen. There is no significant difference between urban and agricultural sources. However, I did detect glyphosate at 95% of sampling sites, contradicting an earlier study done by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, which had reported 0 detects. I recommend that all levels exceeding 0.1 parts per billion be disclosed to the public.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark, and my thesis was on the impacts of land use on stream water quality in the lower Hudson River watershed. So in general, my statistical analyses indicate that urban land cover is positively correlated with nutrients, major ions, and carbon dioxide. Forested land cover is negatively correlated with just about every parameter that was tested, and agricultural land cover is positively correlated with nitrate and negatively correlated with major ions.
Hi, my name is Oksana Ali, and I did my project on the groundwater quality of deep wells in Arhazar, Bangladesh. And in Bangladesh, shallow wells can be high in arsenic, and this is causing a public health crisis in Bangladesh. And to mitigate this problem, Bangladesh is installing hundreds of thousands of wells across the country. However, these deep wells have not been studied in depth, and we do not know the future stability of these wells. And my goal was to study 741 deep wells and evaluate their groundwater chemistry composition, as well as evaluate their future stability. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chandler Pritchett. The largest mass poisoning in human history is occurring in Bangladesh. Deep wells over 600 feet are being installed to provide arsenic-free water. Radiocarbon analysis of organic carbon and inorganic carbon shows that organic carbon is shockingly young. And based on the radiocarbon RNA signature, microbes are utilizing this. If, in fact, the organic carbon is migrating to the deep aquifer, then these wells may not stay as low in arsenic as previously thought and may question their long-term geochemical stability. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Santana. The extraction of natural gas from shale rock formations using hydraulic fracturing technique is controversial, both politically and environmentally. Relatively little research has been conducted to investigate the impacts of hydraulic fracturing toxins to groundwater quality and public health. Using column flooding techniques, my research investigates the subterranean transport of water contamination from these hydraulic fracturing sites to determine any retardation factors of the toxins and the relative contamination spread. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Irina, and my research focused on arc volcanoes. Specifically, I was looking at the influence of the crust on the chemical composition of arc magmas. I found that crustal thickness does have an effect on arc magma geochemistry in combination with magnesium levels. This is important for understanding the creation of our continental crust and reveal more about the ground we're standing on. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mimi Zimmer, and for my senior thesis, my mentors and I were studying a clay unit that was deposited during the PETM, or Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, which was a rapid period of global warming that occurred approximately 56 million years ago, when a large mass of light carbon, such as carbon dioxide or methane, was put into the atmosphere. We're interested in studying the PETM because it's arguably one of the best paleoclimate analogs that we have for anthropogenic warming. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is David Newtown. For my project, I designed a portable creep rig to measure the viscosity of ice samples These ice samples were ammoniated to represent the composition of ice found on the moon of Saturn, Enceladus. Using this data, we can better map the lithospheric strength profile of Enceladus as you move from its icy crust to its liquid water interior. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Sean, and for my thesis project, I studied the extent of Southern Ocean upwelling during the last glacial termination. My investigation in a sediment cores from the South Pacific showed evidence of increased upwelling and CO2 outgassing during deglaciation, and this supports the theory that Southern Ocean upwelling contributed to the termination of the last ice age.
Hello, my name is Grace Cushman, and for my senior thesis, I worked with Jerry McManus and Cassandra Costa on Heinrich events, which are catastrophic iceberg discharges, more specifically within the Labrador Sea during the last glacial period. We focused on discrepancies between sourcing as well as relative signal between Heinrich 1 through 4, and in order to understand these mechanisms and the sourcing and collect samples, I had the privilege of completing fieldwork off the coast of Greenland this last summer on a research vessel. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Stewart Faith, and I studied bioturbation and radiocarbon chronologies in marine sediments for my thesis. In our core, which is here in red, we found radiocarbon offsets of up to 17,000 years in between the species G. beloides and Incompta, which is huge and really not seen before. We also found indications of offset by size fraction and a radiocarbon plateau of 20,000 years in the core top. This work is really important and honestly a little bit alarming for paleoceanographers because many paleoceanography studies depend on radiocarbon chronologies but might not fully understand the effect of bioturbation in their event timelines.
Hi everyone, my name is Emmy Metzger and I worked with Kevin Griffin to study the effects of different bracket materials on the accuracy of electronic dendrometers. Currently in Black Rock Forest there are a number of electronic dendrometers equipped with aluminum brackets, while the commercial grade dendrometers out on the market have carbon fiber brackets instead. So I set up a log, as you see here, up at Lamont, and I used a bunch of different dendrometers with a bunch of different materials. And what we found was that the aluminum bracketed dendrometers were slightly less accurate than the commercial grade carbon fiber dendrometers, and we can use this information to possibly create better models of electronic dendrometers in Black Rock Forest to obtain better tree growth data in the future. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Madeline Wallace. Microbeads pose serious threats to marine environments and possibly to human health, and global marine concentrations of microplastics are highest in the East Asian seas. So I sorted data taken off the coast of Korea and found that the highest concentrations of marine microbeads are off of Korea's eastern coast, and I also found concentrations off of Korea's southern and western coasts. And microbeads non-point source pollution makes it very difficult to mitigate them. So our hopes are that Asia follows the EU and the US in passing anti-microbead legislation. And I'd like to give a big thanks to Dr. Joachim Goes and Kayla McKee. Thank you.
My name is Persis Tickner Swanson, and I studied Prochlorococcus, which is a marine cyanobacteria that is capable of mixotrophy, meaning it performs photosynthesis, but can also acquire organic molecules by taking them directly from seawater. I investigated if this mixotrophic activity was light stimulated using a flow cytometer to isolate Prochlorococcus. On the right is a graph of the glucose uptake versus light irradiance, which shows that as light increases, nutrient uptake also increases. I found that Prochlorococcus is performing mixotrophy in a similar manner to photosynthesis, which could affect our understanding of the marine nutrient cycle.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Zoey Berg. For my thesis, I studied Noctiluca scintillans, a green mixotrophic species of algae currently overtaking the Arabian Sea. The purpose of our experiment was essentially to better understand the biological and physiological response of Noctiluca to varying concentrations of carbon dioxide. So in this experiment, we exposed cells to 150 parts per million CO2, 400 and 800. What we found is that cells thrive in the high CO2, low pH environments, and this has implications for the future for freshwater production done by desalination plants as well as mariculture operation productivity along the coast. Thank you.
Hello, my name is John. I studied the taxonomies of invasive weedy cherry trees in New York Botanical Garden using multivariate analyses on their leaf and flower data. I identified at least 4 unique species within my sample, including this individual on the right, A. prunus incisa. I also described its invasive dynamics using stem density data from previous forest inventories. We found that the weedy cherry population has grown dramatically in the past 5 years and is heavily biased towards small young stems. This means that weedy cherry has self-sustaining populations and is an effective colonizer.
Hi everyone, I'm Brian Cow, and for my thesis I studied Entomocrotis, a genus of blenny, which are small herbivorous algae-eating fish native to tropical and subtropical coasts around the world. I conducted a morphology-based phylogeny of Entomocrotis based on samples taken from museums, and I came to the conclusion that Entomocrotis had an Indo-Pacific center of origin with several colonizations of the Atlantic Ocean.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Van Dusen, and I did a diet analysis of green crabs in the Gulf of Maine using genetic methods. I was particularly interested in looking at how excess lobster bait affects green crab population growth, and I found that there were a prevalent amount of green crab or lobster bait species in green crab diets, including menhaden, which is a common bait fish, and pig and cow, which is a cheap bait alternative. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Loren Hayashi, and for my thesis, I worked with Maria Duke-Waser and Danielle Tufts to study the co-infection dynamics of the agents of Lyme disease and babesiosis. We used a field data set from a capture-recapture study of white-footed mice and inputted that data into a Markov model to give transition probabilities between the 4 states of infection. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Shay Yolo, and for my senior thesis I explored the use of exploratory factor analysis, a data reduction method, in indicator selection for measuring the social impact of drought in Mexico for the year 2000. Mexico serves as an important case study country for understanding the primary dependence on agricultural productivity, yet it also experiences major disparities in social responses to drought. I specifically focused on the integration of infant mortality rate and found that including this variable did in fact affect the spatial distribution of what we consider vulnerability in this country for that year.
Hi, my name is Abhinav Sethuraman, and my thesis was on Tibetan refugees in India. In a recent ruling issued by the Delhi High Court last year, Tibetans born between 1950 and 1987 are now eligible to apply for Indian passports and hence citizenship. I wanted to find out whether this provision allows Tibetans to live more sustainably. So I conducted interviews with Tibetan government officials, everyday Tibetans, and Indian officials, and interview analysis revealed that 70% of Tibetans were opposed to apply for Indian citizenship. Now, whether or not they should apply for citizenship will now be determined through a series of policy recommendations submitted to India's Ministry of Home Affairs. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessie Thorson, and I've been studying barriers to electricity access in Nicaragua. In country, I conducted 33 structured interviews to assess the extent to which my literature review and statistical findings were representative of the lived experience of people on the ground. Interviews confirmed the statistical correlation found between energy access and variables including national income in Central America, shown on the screen, and anecdotally attested to the possible impact of institutional and democratic quality on energy access in Nicaragua. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sage Max. I worked with Adela Gondek at SEPA. My project sought to determine which online news media frame was most impactful upon consumers' decisions to eat meat. Those frames were environmental, animal welfare, and human health concerns. Using online surveys and expert interviews, I found that health was most important, while women were twice as likely as men to value animal welfare. This is a relevant topic in environmentalism because factory farms pose a major threat in terms of water usage, pollution, and emissions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lila Livingston, and for my thesis research, I analyzed the Trump administration's review of national monuments through a case study of Bears Ears National Monument in Utah. My thesis posits that the Trump administration's decision to diminish the acreage of Bears Ears National Monument by 85% represents a critical moment in the political ecology of federal lands in the United States. This critical moment simultaneously challenges the legal authority conferred to the president under the Antiquities Act and disrupts a pattern of federal environmental regulation in the West. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sam Goldberg. New York
is often hailed as a hub of sustainable agriculture. Given that the majority of farm workers in the state are undocumented, though, it is worth asking whether the state's significant immigration enforcement activities compromise the social dimension of this sustainability. To explore this question, I conducted spatial analysis, policy review, and interviews with farmers and farm workers throughout the state. I found that immigration enforcement heightens farm labor exploitation by restricting farm workers' physical and social mobility. These findings point to the need for farm labor and traffic policy reforms that empower New York's farm workers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chisa Monye, and my research focused on free internet initiatives, specifically Internet.org's Free Basics, which is an app that aims to help the poor access information, thereby decreasing digital inequality and its repercussions. However, I discover that the app's rural poor penetration rate in Kenya indicates that the app is failing due to Internet.org's service delivery methods and product offerings. Thank you.
Don't be in a haste to hate waste. While you may think there is no jewel in stool and only vermin in urine, these wastes are not barren. Waste pools can be cool. Take, for instance, food waste like celery, from which we can recover energy. This is no reverie. Plant it in your memory. Speaking of plants, the biogas plant wears the pants, dictating feasible production of fuel, such as at this very school. We can generate hydrogen and methane, achieving financial and environmental gain. Less waste into the Hudson and landfill sites. The results do shine bright. Thank you.
It's hard to follow that one. Hi, my name is Luke Zahn. I was working on assessing the transportation costs for carbon capture and storage in the Cascadia Basin. The Cascadia Basin, located off the Pacific Northwest coast of the United States of America, can store up to 140 years of global CO2 emissions, so the U.S. Department of Energy is very much interested in it as a way of mitigating catastrophic climate change. After considering pipeline, ship, and freight transportation methods, we found that storing 50 million tons of CO2 would cost approximately $500 million, indicating the need for future incentives. Thank you.
Okay, that was wonderful. Fantastic.